And welcome to the Crawford Podcasting Network for another episode. This video podcast, the Adman and Tom. Again, the Crawford Podcasting Network. A variety of content. We're getting into college football every Tuesday. Michigan State. That's the content, basically. Both teams 3-0. Stevie Adler, my co-host, was We Are There, hashtag We Are There. He went down to Miami with some of his Michigan State buds.
That's
from
correct.
Yesteryear. And you know what? In a nutshell, just give us the overview of the experience. 46,000 down there. As I predicted it would be like in Northwestern, and now in Miami, you had more fans than the home team. It sounded like.
I wouldn't go that far, but there was a good showing.
And I knew a lot of Michigan State people down there that had a good time, and obviously the big win, 3-touchdown win when it was all said and done. Tell us about your experience, Stevie.
It was hot.
This is a guy who does not like hot and humid weather.
No.
Me. I'm right with you on that. How bad was it? Does the roof? I think that keeps the heat in. That's the worst thing, right?
Well, so it's a noon kick, and we tailgated, but of course you don't have a tailgate tent because you're an away team and you flew there.
Yeah.
So we were just roasting, and you're talking 9 in the morning, 10 in the morning, and just sweating, just
dripping.
Not fun, but I mean it was fun in terms of hanging with Spartans and even running into a couple people that you knew a little bit. And no, our seats were good. We had club level seats. We were in the shade the whole time. Because it was club level, we had air conditioned concourse, and there were fewer people around, so that was nice. COVID-wise, wearing masks, being safe, all that kind of stuff. We were on the 25-yard line, I think.
Nice.
And it was great. There weren't a ton of, it wasn't jam packed. Put it that way. There was
6,000 announced. Yeah, and how big is that stadium?
I'm not sure how many it holds.
Yeah,
it's a nice Hard Rock Stadium. Is a nice stadium, and as you mentioned, there's not a roof on it, but it almost comes to a, you know what I mean? Like it comes over like this, and so there's a lot of shade in there, except when the sun's on an angle and it's coming in one side, which was of course the
problem. This is the same thing where the Cowboys used to play.
Yeah.
In Irving. Okay, so you have a hole in the roof, which means you can't have air conditioning, and all that heat in there. Like I've been in that stadium, and you just swelter.
Yeah.
And I was thinking the same thing. With once again, Miami has a great fan base when they're in contention for the national title, and when they're not, it's a pro town. It's just like a lot of these other towns, but it sounded to me listening. And I was in the box down in Michigan. And I'd have this thing so I can listen to games and check in on your game. And it sounded like a lot of Michigan State fans whenever you did something good.
It was a nice crowd. There was some go green, go white chants. It was a tight game until into the fourth quarter.
Right.
Michigan State, the biggest shocker was that Miami wilted in the heat and not Michigan State. Michigan State outscored them 21-3 in the fourth.
Yeah.
Looked like the stronger team. When you have Kenneth Walker, that guy is just a monster.
Heisman? Do you want to crown him Heisman? Come on, we're in September.
I'm not a Michigan guy here, so I'm not gonna play that game yet. Although I will say, if I was a betting man, you might put a little bit down as long shot Heisman. Throw a little bit of money down and forget about it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
With the better odds.
Yeah, I understand that as your Spartan dogs are chiming in on that one.
Yeah. Spartan dogs barking in the background.
Yeah, so Miami had 27 first downs, and they turned the ball over 4 times. So they moved the ball, but Michigan State just moved the ball all over Miami. So the only negative I would see for Michigan State, shore up the defense a little bit. What do you think of that?
Yeah, well, if you watch the first half, the damn dog's going to be. This is the deal with doing a podcast at home, right?
Yeah. Are you pissed off Are you pissed off yet or not?
I am. I'm hot right now, and there's no way to shut them up. That's the problem.
Just don't worry about it. Breathe.
I got to concentrate through the barking. That's not easy.
Okay.
Hey, Michigan State, they did that soft zone to start, the DBs, and the idea is you want to keep De'Aaron King. You don't want him to scramble. So you don't want your DBs to turn their heads, you know what I mean, do man-to-man coverage. But the problem was it felt like they were giving them too much space, where it was like, they even said after the game they were giving us gifts and we were taking them. So, but I guess it worked because Michigan State was like, hey, eventually they're going to make mistakes as being Miami.
Right.
And so let's keep everything in front of us.
Hey.
They might have tightened up a little bit there in the second half, but the first half it was, I think King was 19 for 22, and he had like 2 drops.
Yeah.
So, he was lights out. So
he got hurt, and then he came back, right? Because he was gone, then all of a sudden he came back in.
He hurt his shoulder on a tackle.
Yeah.
And he is good. The Rambo, the receiver, is really good. He had a big game.
He had a big-time catch, the touchdown.
They didn't have much of a running game.
No.
And the defense was okay. They were blitzing early, and what I liked was Jay Johnson and Mel Tucker made adjustments. They didn't wait till halftime. Third series, They said, okay, if you're going to blitz, if you're going to come after us, we're just going to do quick little dart screen passes, and we're going to use your aggressiveness against you. And that's what they
3-step drops. I'm as much as I'm impressed with Kenneth Walker, Peyton Thorne, I think this is working out. I think this is working out.
I think co-offensive player of the week in the Big Ten.
Yeah, he throws a nice ball. He's got great feet, great mechanics. It's just protecting him. And did he get sacked in this game? He didn't turn the ball over. I'll tell you what, if you don't turn the ball over, if you don't throw interceptions, that's huge.
Well, so far through 3 games, he's got 9 touchdowns and 0 picks.
Yeah, I say that because I want to jinx him now. We're going to jinx him now, so he'll throw 3 INTs against Nebraska. Who knows? Anyway, it was impressive. We both predicted a Michigan State win. I had it 24-20. I didn't. I thought it'd be closer, and it was close, like you said. But
yeah, it was.
They pulled away, and that's a quality win. That's what I want Michigan to do. It's get on the road and prove it on the road.
Are you guys ever going to leave Ann Arbor?
After this week, and when we get into them, I'll tell you exactly what all that means. And how I'm holding judgment. I'm happy, but I'm holding judgment. And speaking of judgment, where are you at with your team in terms of how good you think they could be and how successful they can be, Stevie, this year in 2021?
Well, the first thing I have to do is adjust my 7-5 preseason prediction.
No, but we're going to acknowledge that every week that was your preseason prediction.
So I own that.
Yeah, you own that. You own that for the season, but then you can adjust of what you in real time you think it's going to happen.
Yeah. So I'm not ignoring that. That's what I started the season, and it was cautious. I wanted to go 8-4, but I was like, let's be safe here. And now you have to go minimum 8-4 because they're 3-0. There's 9 games to go. So are you saying they're only going to go 4-5 down the stretch?
Well,
it would be 7-5.
I think it's almost 50-50 between. And I'm using the Michigan game since that's such a personal thing between you and me and a lot of people. Let's look at it from a 7-game season going into that game in East Lansing on October 30th. You have Nebraska. You got 2 night games coming up. Western Kentucky's a night game. I don't quite understand that, but you've got Nebraska and Western Kentucky, and then you have these 2 nooners on the road with Rutgers and Indiana. Or Indiana and Rutgers, whatever that order is. And then you have the bye week before Michigan. So obviously those 2 road games, and we're going to learn a lot more about Rutgers this week when they play Michigan, how good their defense is. Greg Schiano, I will go on record as saying, from all the much smarter people that in football than me that I talk to, and some who have actually even coached with him, he is a flat out good coach.
Right.
And so, you got to respect, and they're more physical. Now they haven't beaten anybody like a lot of teams, but I think that could be a difficult. And Indiana, because Indiana is for the first time in a long time has a legitimate home crowd. I had two nieces who graduated from IU, and they said that most of the students just stayed in the parking lot. They didn't even come into the game. That's all changed now with Tom Allen. So going into a hostile environment at Indiana is going to be much more challenging than Rutgers. So I think Indiana is that X factor game, that game that could go either way. What are your thoughts on that?
Right, but you talk about the crowd, and you're right about them actually drawing a crowd for a change. But is that crowd still going to be there when these losses start piling up?
That's
because they
true.
had such high expectations.
No, you're right.
Everyone was sky high for the season, and it hasn't quite worked out so far. So, they gave Cincinnati a battle, and then I didn't see it, but I heard their linebacker got tossed on a really questionable targeting penalty. So that really hurt their chances. They're up 14-0.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But you got to close, but Cincinnati's a really good team.
Right.
So that's not a bad loss. So anyway, Nebraska is an interesting team. And first of all, Scott Frost is a dick, so I don't like him. So I'll just go on record of saying that.
How do you really feel?
So anyway,
why? Because he took half a national title from you guys?
No, he's all right. And I wish him the best of luck on Saturday night. Yeah. But my point is that team. I'm envisioning that Oklahoma game for Nebraska could really be a boost in their confidence that they can play with a really good team. That and yet they're also pissed off and hungry.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take that as an automatic win. I would be a little nervous walking in that stadium if I was a Michigan State fan.
I'd take a 1-point win in a heartbeat. I think that's a really dangerous game. Everyone's made fun of them after they lost to Illinois, and rightfully so, but they played a lot better. And Martinez, their quarterback's playing a lot better.
Oh, he's been around for ages, it seems like.
Yeah. 8th-year senior. That's a dangerous team, and Michigan State has had trouble with Nebraska in the past. And no way. Anyone who knows the score knows it's not going to be, at least going into it. It should be it should be a close game. It should be a close game. No one should expect. Hey, who are we to think we're just going to go in and just blow Nebraska out? That doesn't work that way. No, well,
it's the Big Ten, and when it gets to Big Ten play, it's twice as important. It's 0-0. Everybody's slate. Well, Michigan State's 1-0, but and Nebraska's 0-1 in the Big Ten. But a lot of teams are entering 0-0 this week, like Michigan. But it's this is what you play for, to win a Big Ten championship. And the Big Ten East, for example, is wide open right now. It really is wide open in my mind, because I think Ohio State is beatable right now. Now that might change, but I think a lot of teams could play with him.
It's possible. It's possible that it's wide open. Iowa doesn't have the offense. Penn State's looking tough, but Auburn gave them all they wanted, and Auburn's not considered a great SEC team this year.
I thought, good point, because I thought Penn State would have an easier time with Auburn than they did.
Yeah, nice win. A ranked team, but
nice win. But Auburn could have won that football game,
right?
And Auburn is not at the top of the heap. And Auburn's always good. They got great athletes in the SEC.
Yeah,
they just do.
Hey, I know you're itching to switch over to your team, but I have to. I know this quote has been going around, and I just want to read it. Mel Tucker. We wanted to drag them into the deep water.
I heard that.
Where we are, where we live. With the strain and the struggle, the pain, the pressure, the weight room, the discipline, the attention to detail, all of those things. That's what we want it to be. That is some Samuel L. Jackson Pulp Fiction type lines right there. That is like biblical.
Yeah.
When I heard that, I was like shaking. I'm like, can I put on a helmet? Do I have any eligibility left?
Mel Tucker is
He's a serious dude.
He's a serious dude. D'Antonio is serious and snarky.
Yep. I loved him for it.
Tucker is serious but classy, professional so far. We'll see on October 30th.
Yeah, he's not the kind of guy that's going to tell a joke at a party.
No. This is not Tom Izzo up there going to every freaking event on campus because everybody wants him to be there. He's like the ringmaster. No, but that's fine. Who cares? I mean, I want somebody like, more. Duffy Daugherty's not going to come back. Duffy Daugherty and John L. Smith in Michigan State's history were two of the more animated guys, and John L. was kind of goofy animated.
Yeah.
Duffy was just commander at the. When I was a kid, I heard him at a banquet, and he was so funny, and where kids could understand the humor. I mean,
you're the first person in history to lump Duffy Daugherty and John L. Smith together.
No, I'm not.
Because some sort of similarity. I get where you're going with it, but that is weird to hear.
No, I get it. Anyway, let's switch over. Let's segue over to the corner of Stadium in Maine, as I like to refer to. Michigan jumped on Northern Illinois early and often. Rocky Lombardi did not have the good time that he had last time. Although he did try to, he was wolfing on the Michigan State. He scores, and then he's trying to wolfing on the fan base, and it's like, dude, it's 63-10 now. I mean,
yeah, you showed him.
Anyway, Michigan. Here's my thoughts, and I'd like to get your thoughts on it. And I'm not. I know you didn't see our game, or you probably don't even know the score.
No, I said 60-something to 7 or 10 or something.
Yeah, 63-10. What Michigan is doing is they're averaging 350 yards of rushing, and this is what I've been yearning for years, of having a running attack. They have a better defense. They're much more physical, and they have two good quarterbacks, and they're 3-0. And Northern Illinois, okay, I know the transitive property doesn't work. I see you, Rico Beard, as you're listening to our podcast. Oh, that doesn't work in college football. How else do you evaluate college football without the transitive property? Northern Illinois beat Georgia Tech, who had Clemson on the ropes. I'm just saying, how do you evaluate these teams? How do you evaluate your 3 wins? You find out what those teams, and that's why we don't know shit at 3 games in. I don't know anything really about my team, and it's great that's 3-0. I think the same thing holds for you. I think it's good that they're 3-0 and they're doing everything they possibly can. Hey, you only play who it's on the schedule. That's all. The kids don't have any control over that. We're going to find out about Michigan in 2 weeks, or a week from Saturday when they go to Madison. That's when rubber meets the road. I think they'll beat Rutgers. I don't think that'll be I think it could be a tighter game. But when they go on the road to Wisconsin, which is a very physical team, and they're going to have a balanced attack, but Cade McNamara has to throw the ball. He threw the ball, a lot against Northern Illinois' weakness is their defense. And so that did not surprise me. But, I'm almost holding off evaluation on Michigan until we get to Wisconsin. Are you doing the same?
I read an excellent tweet that I had to have a good laugh at. It said, just some random guy said, I know it's early in the season and I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I think Michigan has an excellent chance of winning the MAC West. And I thought that was pretty appropriate. And I think you're taking the right approach here with your who knows what you actually have. Because
Western did beat Pitt, so Western's better than once again, these are credibility crushers right there. That's how you evaluate things. I mean, Miami almost got beat by Appalachian State, for God's sakes, okay? App State. And they got blown out by Bama. So, but Miami could go out and beat somebody, and then their credibility goes up. Literally, this is like the stock market, where you sit at the time.
Yeah. So, what are your adjustment right now? What'd you say, 7-5 starting the season?
Yeah, I did. No, I had 8-4.
8-4.
I had Michigan.
Now, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Coming into the season, where did you have them after 3 games? Because obviously you had at least 2 wins.
I had the loss with Washington. I had my loss. My
home
record.
loss.
Yeah.
The Mays out home loss to Washington.
Yeah. I had my losses of Washington, Wisconsin, at Wisconsin, at Penn State, and home with Ohio State. Okay, so right now I have I think Michigan's going to be as I'm sitting right now, and I might change it next week. I'm only going to go to the Michigan State game. I'm going to have them 7-0 going against Michigan State, which will be either 7-0 or 6-1. Most likely 7-0. So I have our two teams at 7-0. Can you imagine? First of all, College Game Day will be there. I'm thinking.
Yeah,
and they'll both be top 10. Think about that.
They'll have to put a chicken wire around game day.
Yeah.
You think you're going into Nebraska and Wisconsin and getting the W's before Michigan State?
Well, as I'm predicting right now, I'm saying it's going to be, as I'm predicting right now, I think they're going to find a way to beat Wisconsin. I mean, they've lost their last 5 games in Madison. Last time they won was 2001, but they've only played 5 times in Madison since that time. And they got blown out. They've gotten blown out the last 2 times. And I'm just thinking if there's a lick of pride in that, that's going to be a huge motivation for Michigan. And I think they're going to eke one out. I'm starting to believe in this team. I was sitting next to Jerry Green, the old columnist who is the honorary captain for this game. And he came up, and Chad Shepard, who's one of the assistant SIDs, he says, Tom, is there a seat there? Can Jerry sit here until his family gets here? They're in a suite. And so Jerry, he's 93. Okay. Very, very sharp. But he met with the team on Friday night. He says, you know what? This team is 2 things about them. They're very, very respectful young men he's saying all the right things, and I'm sure it's true. But he said, I looked around the room and it looks like this team they like each other, and this is something that we heard about. There were problems last year, and I hear about this all the time from the players, how much fun everybody's having. So there's all of a sudden this revised morale. And you look at Michigan State, Michigan, and Penn State. What they did last year in COVID was abysmal. And all of a sudden, this is why COVID, some people think, look, dude, just take it. It's a throwout. It's a one-off. Maybe that's the case. So I think Michigan's going to eke one out in Madison. And I mean, as we're sitting right now, I might change that.
Yeah.
But if we're going to do the real-time thing every week, just for fun, for shits and grins, but my overall, estimation going into the season was indeed 8-4.
Would you take both teams going in 6-1? Or let's put it this way: would you take Michigan? Because Michigan's going to trip up somewhere before the game. They're going to lose at Madison or at Nebraska. One or the other.
No, you might be right.
Because it's back to back. Here's the thing that you're not taking into consideration.
No. Listen, I'm considering everything.
No.
I truly am.
Here's the thing you're not considering. I don't think. You tell me if you are. You get these easy blowout wins. What happens when this team is in a dogfight in the 4th quarter, and you got to trust your quarterback who hasn't really? I mean, I realize the one game he only threw for 44 yards, but even like the last game, it's different throwing in a game when you're up 30-0 and
I understand.
30-0. It's another thing when you're in a hostile crowd and it's 3rd and 12 and the crowd's going crazy and it's a tie game. You're down 3, whatever. How do you know your team? You don't know what your team's going to do in that situation.
Well, and normal, if you had asked me that, evaluating the last 6-8 years, I'd agree with you. Unfortunately, but this year, fortunately, rather, they have a running game that they never had, and they have 3 physical backs. Donovan Edwards is going to be playing more and more each week. They got 3 solid back rotation. Their offensive line has come together. I say that though, Wisconsin defense, they average giving up 2 yards a carry. So Wisconsin's the season. If they beat Wisconsin, they're going to beat Nebraska. I think, and then they got the bye week, and then they got Northwestern at home, and then they got Michigan State.
But you're going to trip up at least one of those 2 away games. That's my call. And,
okay.
and Sparty will not be 7-0 going into the game either.
Well, when are they going to lose?
I mean, it's possible. I mean, Nebraska at home is going to be a tough game. It's going to be real tough. What do we go on the road to Rutgers?
Yeah, and Indiana, back to back.
It's probably one of those road games, is what I would say. Is without looking at them separately, road games are tough. You don't win a lot of road games in the conference. You're going to trip up one of those times.
Yeah.
So 7-1, 7-1. Hey, maybe you guys will trip up twice.
Well, no, actually, there's 7 decisions before they go into that.
Yeah. Yeah, you might be 6-1, 5-2. How about that?
See, Michigan's season is really backloaded. I mean, really backloaded. Which is why they lose a lot of games, because they play their tougher games in November. After Michigan State, which will be a real physical, emotional game, then they got Indiana at home, which is still, Indiana always plays havoc with Michigan. And they beat them last year for the first time since 1987.
Yeah, so how can you say they create havoc in Michigan? They won once.
Because all the games are freaking close. I mean, it's crazy.
Win.
Michigan won in overtime down in Bloomington. Look at the schedule. I wish I didn't. It wasn't that way. But my point is,
one win since 1987.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the year I graduated high school.
I know. Okay, right, well let me finish my point. Let me finish my point if I could. After Indiana, they got at Penn State, at Maryland, and then Ohio State at home. That's so November's got Indiana, Penn State, Maryland, and Ohio State. That's a tough road to finish off.
Right. You could have 3 L's in there.
Could or not. We don't know. We don't know. Nobody knows. No. I tell you what, the litmus test, I'll say it again, is Madison, Wisconsin. And if Michigan beats Wisconsin, let me tell you, you know how people say they overrate Michigan? They'll go from 19th to 10th. It'll be a big jump.
Go from 19th to 6th. I know how it works. I've been around the block a couple times with the scouts. When everyone's so desperate to prop your team up to, it's better when the blue bloods are good. That statement angers me more than It angers me more than any other statement when announcers say that. It's better when Tennessee's good or Texas. Oh, shut up. Who's just because you grew up with them being good doesn't mean that it means everything to everybody else. You know what I mean? There's a lot of new blood, new money.
Yeah.
You don't need old money in there.
Hey, listen, you should be happy. I'm happy. I'm staying in the moment. We got homecoming coming up with Rutgers. We're going to see some old buddies. We're going to go over to the house. Our 175th anniversary of Beta Theta Pi on the University of Michigan campus. Happy that'll be fun. And you got the night game. It's all good, man. Life is good.
You worried about Rutgers at all?
Oh, hell yeah. Are you kidding me? Absolutely.
I saw their cornerback. Did you see this?
Yeah, two of them are kicked off, and one's a starter.
One's a starter for some sort of paintball violation. Yeah. What are they doing? Shooting random people or cars?
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing.
I don't know.
I mean,
you know what? And this is what really shocks me, because this goes against the grain of Greg Schiano. Is like a I wouldn't want to be on his.
Listen, I made a lot of dumb decisions when I was in college, but can you imagine being a college football player for Rutgers? You have a 3-0 season. You have a chance to go to Michigan.
Yeah.
You have a chance to go to the big stadium and go to Michigan. Yep. And now you can't because you shot paintballs at.
No, something. I know. It's stupid.
I mean, I made dumb decisions, but come on, man.
No, a
starting corner on a good defense. I mean, you're killing your team. If I was a teammate, I would not be talking to this guy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Dumbass.
Stevie, hey, listen, great job again. Enjoy the moment. The biggest takeaway from Miami, besides the heat and humidity, just before we close, what was the most fun thing you did? Going to the bar with your buddies after the game, or on Saturday night, celebrate? What was it? Give us the insight.
We didn't go out very much. We went to one bar, but it was outside. trying to be very careful of everything.
Yeah.
So we didn't go and do anything for a while. Lame. I guess we're old and lame, but I guess just because COVID, we just kind of hung at the house and played cards and had a couple of beverages and hung out by the pool and, reminisced and did all that stupid stuff you do when you get old. And tailgating was fun. And then to see that big win. And like I said, the Spartans did not wilt. Kenneth Walker ran wild. Peyton Thorne, money for the most part. Receivers did well. Defense rose to the occasion when they needed to. You hate the phrase statement win, but I don't know if that's overstating it. But boy, that was an important win.
No, it was good. You had to. It was an opportunity that they embraced.
The national media is now going, hey, what's going on in East Lansing?
They are.
Now, there was none of it.
Right.
Yeah.
But don't let it slip away.
Got to stay focused for the striped out game.
There you go. Yeah. So instead of in every tailgate shot that I would see from Miami of Spartan fans, all I would do is see a shirt with a big sweat mark all the way down. People are just sweating. And that won't be the case. 60 degrees, your kind of weather, Stevie. Coming up next. Enjoy, embrace it, and we'll talk to you next week on the Ad Man and Tom on the Crawford Podcasting